see a few teams going at each other with vehicles at the moment, with Team 10 just behind. SK Hacker has been taken out, leaving Team 3 with just 3 members. And we now see Team 3 going after BM Blitz in a buggy at the moment, heading towards his teammate on the right hand side there. And BM Blitz is having some issues at the moment with one of the back wheels being taken out, and Team 3 are now moving away from Team 10 and taking shelter inside a building there. And Team 3 are now back inside their vehicle, moving away. And are now picking up the villain of Team 3. With Beast knocking and killing BM Blitz there. And if we now have a quick look at the map with the first zone being revealed, we see that teams 14, 4, 8, 11 and 2, as well as Team 9, need to start moving in. But let's jump straight over to Team 6, who are getting some knocks. And BTL Lewison is not getting inside the car at the moment and is being pushed by Sigbot, so that could mean that he has disconnected. And we now see Sigbot trying to pick him up, but is now choosing to move away, leaving BTL Lewison behind as Sigbot goes to meet Sig Fury. And we see Sebas going up against the B2K team. So let's jump over to Team 11 as we see B2K Youngboy not at the moment as Team 11 go up against Team 2. And now, as we see, Team 11 have 3,000 metres that they need to travel to get to zone. And with the blue zone now coming in, they will need to start making a move very, very shortly. But luckily, TX Payne Sir has got a Jeep, so they will be perfectly fine as long as they have enough fuel and do not get shot at on the way. But with this being PUBG, anything is possible. So let's see if Team 11 manage to make it in. And we're now seeing Profess knocking Beast before getting knocked himself. So let's see if we can locate them and go right there. So we're now looking at Team 10, who are going up against Team 20, with Team 15 just to the left. And a grenade has just been thrown towards Profess, and that is him done by KO there. And we now see YouTube Jokey lying prone behind a rock with a vehicle having exploded, and he will now need to decide whether to rush in and try and get some kills or whether to back off and go for placement. And shots are still being fired at YouTube Jokey there, presumably by Team 15 at the moment, who are closest. And if we now have another look at the map, the blue zone is catching up with Teams 4 and 11. With teams 8, 14 and 2 now inside vehicles, making their way to the next zone. We have teams 6 and 16 near to a drop at the moment, with team 17 still over at Novo. And by the looks of this zone, it looks as though they may be cut off on the next zone change, so they will need to come down the bridge. And with team 16 and 6 nearby, it might not be as easy as they hoped. But nonetheless, we have Team 13 near to Milta Power. We have Team 19 at Lipovka. We have Team 2 coming in to join Team 6 and 16 around the farm. And in around 6 minutes' time, we will have our first game recap of today. But for now, let's continue watching player number 10, Team 10, YouTube Jokey, as he decides what to do next. And with it now quietening down near to Team 10, let's have a look at the map quickly and move over to Team 16, the OTO team, who are looking over towards Team number 9 at the moment. And we're still with Team 16, who have decided not to fire upon Team 9 at the moment. And with another red zone coming in near to shooting range, far away from any of the active players at the moment. So they should be relatively safe this time round. But with the blue zone now coming in very shortly, teams 5, 21, 8, 17, 3 and 14 will need to make their way into zone. And as I mentioned a moment ago, team 17 will now need to travel down the bridge. And with team 16 waiting on the other end, it could be a very eventful few moments. But the zone changes in 1 minute's time, so they may change their mind and as an alternative option travel across water, either by swimming or by boat, or they may try and rotate around to the right, coming out by Milter Power to try and avoid any interaction with any other players. But let's leave that for a moment and return to Team 16, who are now being fired upon by Team 9. And members of Team 9 are now moving location by car, with Team 16 watching them carefully as they leave. And with them now on the left side, they may be able to continue rotating round to get the height on Team 16. But both teams are currently inside the zone, so there is no rush for them to interact with each other. And now we see Nerd Maniac knocking killing B4V, sorry. So if we can, let's jump over to Team 5. Who find themselves going up against Team 15 at the moment, with B4V1 just taking a boost there. And now about to lean out to try and shoot towards Nerd Maniac, who has just thrown a few smokes. And as you can see at the moment, if you look at the map in the top right corner, Team 5 have separated massively, making them very vulnerable if 15 decide to push. And with Wan, Hilu and Lak Dorji being quite far, if one of them gets knocked, it is unlikely that they will be revived in this match. So it would be wise for Team 5 to come together and push as a unit. And there we see B4V Lak Dorji just being knocked by Nerd Maniac there. And with other members of Team 15 nearby, it is unlikely that he will get back up. As we can see, he's just been taken out. And 7EX February has just knocked Chawup, with Rav Russia knocking February, and the play zone knocking Rav Russia, with Rav and February. OT has just knocked Beast, and Wan has almost been knocked, with the shots taking around 80% of his health, which is now being refilled. Now, one point I will mention briefly is that when you are separating as a team, it's usually when you're a team of 3, for example, going against a team of 2 or a team of 1, when you have the advantage. But when you're a team of 4 going up against another team of 4, the risk is huge when you try and separate. So it's always worth thinking whether it is really worth putting a team at risk so early on. And in this occasion, it would have been more sensible for Team 5 to have stuck together, especially when going up against another squad like Team 15. And as we can just see, and they have just been revived. So 3 members of Team 15 going up against 2 members of Team 5. And Wan is now inside a Jeep. It looked as though he was going to move location, but he then got out of the car. Fenio has just got a knock on the left hand side there, and they are still with Team 5 going up against Team 15. And Villain has just knocked OTO Fuzzy, and CGM Pablo has just knocked GFN next, with Oyoki getting the kill on Villain. And Team 5 are now looking to make a move, with SK Botop getting the kill on Fuzzy there. And Team 5 will now be going past Team 13 on the right hand side, with CGN getting the Vape team wiped out. And now that we are 19 minutes into game number 1, let's have our game recap. So the zone changes again in 1 minute 45 seconds. We are watching Team 5 at the moment with 1 kill to their name. There are 47 players left remaining, so as always it's still very much all to play for. And B4V has just thrown a grenade, but does not hit the target. And is now preparing another grenade to be thrown, with B2K Youngboy knocking TN Adito. And Team 13 have now started to push, with Team 2 over at 175 also. There's another grenade, and NTR Terror is taken down, as well as B for the Helu, with Virus yet to start pushing in. So it may be that Terror tries to get back to somewhere safe. And that is Wan knocked, and Helu is just reviving. And Helu is just going to move around and try and get a shot on them. And that is Helu taking out Terror and Virus there. And now goes to revive his teammate. And now whilst they are doing that, let's jump over to Loyson of Team 6, as we see them go up against Team 7 and Team 3. And BTK Knight has just got a knock, with BTL Loyson rolling hard and almost getting taken out by the OTO team of Team 16 over at 310. with Loyson now throwing a smoke grenade and being shot at from the left hand side as he is knocked by B4V Helu and Sig Fury taken down by SKMD, and that is Helu getting the kill on Loyson there, with B4V1 taking down Sig Fury, with Sigbot the last remaining member of team number 6, with the play zone knocking TX, and CGN action with LC Max knocking Sunrise Apollo and Chuap, killing 2 members of BTK, 3 members of BTK with an explosion, with Sigbot getting the finish on SKMD there, and the play zone taking down other members of the TM team, with LC getting a couple of knocks and kills with grenades on the Sunrise team, and the play zone continuing to kill other players, with CGM Mighty Sky being knocked. With Nerdjuru being knocked by Sigbot, and Sigbot is then taken down by Nerd Maniac there. And the Sebas 9YT is just taking some painkillers, and we'll now start driving into zone. And OTO or Yoki has just taken down 7EX Veins, with SK Botop taking down 7 Rab B there. And Sebas has just driven past a member of Team 15 and is now going towards members of Team 16, with his health almost being wiped fully, with shots coming from all sides, and smokes now being thrown to give him as much cover as physically possible, but unfortunately it is just not enough, with him being taken down by Team number 9. Towards Team 17, with Helu getting the finish. And we are now nearing the end of game number 1, with the zone changing again in around 20 seconds time. We have 13 players still alive, consisting of Team 16, 15, 9, 8, 7 and 5. With Nerd Maniac getting a knock and kill on LC Rage. And 7 Rab Rex knocking C4 with team number 5 now firing towards Team 16, and the zone taking a lot of their health. And I think that this is going to be the end for team number 5, with the zone just doing too much damage, and Healy will have no time at all to use that first aid kit, with the play zone taking him down, and Wan will go down shortly. And the play zone finishes Helu, and Wan just about makes it. So it looks as though it will now be Team 5, Team 16, Team 8 and Team 7 fighting for the finish on Game 1, with Rav Russia knocking Chaos with a well-thrown grenade there, and B for the WAN just lying prone on the outskirts of the next zone, with Rav Russia knocking Vape 77. So let's jump over to team number 8 briefly. As we see, 2 members of Team 8 knocked at the moment, with T4CH Semke, the last standing member. And Molly is thrown, but Semke is now trying to get the revive as Rav Russia starts to move in. And that is Chaos revived, and Semke trying to heal up. And that is the end for Vape 77, and Chaos is knocked due to a grenade thrown by Rav. And Semke is now going to try and take him out before reviving Chaos. And with shots being fired left, right and centre, he is now going to go for that revive, with B4V just getting a kill there also. And Rav Russia is taken out by the play zone, as well as Chaos and T4CH, leaving B for the WAN to go up against OTO Nasty at the moment. It is going to be 1v1 as we finish, with both team members on opposite sides of the hill there. Both are prone at the moment. And it looks as though neither has spotted each other at the moment, with Nasty looking to prepare a molly to throw towards Team 5. And no shots are being fired at the minute. But both players are moving around, and they both appear to be on the outskirts of the next zone at the moment. And now smokes are being thrown on the left-hand side, possibly to create a distraction. But at the moment, due to Team 16's position, it is unlikely that Team 5 will be able to see from where they are currently situated. But in a moment, both players will need to start moving in as the zone changes again, unless they want it to be a real fight to the finish, and it'll be down to the zone to decide which team will win game number 1. And now B4V is now starting to move in slightly, with Team 16 over by the tree at 1-2-5. And it looks as though WAN hasn't spotted him at the moment, and is continuing to turn to try and find his last enemy. And at the moment it is just a waiting game, as neither B4V1 or Nasty wants to fire any shots at the moment. And it looks as though B4V still hasn't spotted Nasty's location. And let's see where Nasty is looking at the moment. And it looks as though Nasty has a rough idea where Wan is located. But due to his current position, it's going to be very hard to get a shot on Wan at the moment until he moves forward slightly. And if we look at the map at the moment, the zone is changing in 14 seconds. And the blue zone will start to push them in, which is why Nasty is taking an energy drink right now, just to give him that extra chance to outlast Wan when the play zone moves in further. And here we go. Nasty is choosing not to move at the moment as Wan starts to move into the zone and is now firing at Nasty. And there we have it. That is the end of game number 1. And the win goes to Team B4V with 9 kills. We have OTO in second with 2. We have Vape in third with 7 kills. We have 7 Rav in fourth with 6 kills. And we have Nerd in fifth with 6 kills also. If you have enjoyed the stream, please follow the channel with new content added daily. We will be back in just a moment for game number 2. This is Game for Nature Scrims. I am Ab Summer, and we will be right back.